The Seymour Duncan Dark Sun is a digital delay and reverb pedal. And the fact that this video isn't 2 minutes long should tell you that there is a whole lot more to it than that. The guitar in the beginning there was a very heavily modulated, very heavily reverberated delay with a fair amount of feedback and a decent bit of low-pass filter. Then for the main strummed guitar part, that's a Reverb Warhawk 390, just picked that up, and I used a fairly short delay with no feedback, a vibrato-esque modulation, and of course, lots of reverb. I wanted something multi-dimensional and shimmery for the third guitar in there, just something a little bit different to grab your attention. So I raised up the low pass filter to get us some more of the highs coming through. I cranked up the saturation knob to bake the signal a little bit, and I set it to pattern mode for that multi-delay mode, which we'll talk more about later. The Dark Sun is not pretending to be analog or tape, and it kind of looks like a control surface from the ship in the movie Alien. I mean, look at all these knobs and the green LED display and all these status lights and the black text on the dark gray background. It's a little imposing. And then we take a look at the back and the sides, and we've got stereo in and out, a 9 to 18 volt power jack, a USB port, and MIDI in and through. This pedal is definitely not messing around, but before we get into the knobs and the buttons and those details, I want to play just a few more quick samples so you don't start out with the wrong idea about this digital delay, starting with this springy reverb setting. And then going back to that pattern setting, here's a little rhythmic something something. And now here's what it sounds like when we pull out all the control rods and go reverb into reverse delay with a whole lot of saturation and modulation, with everything you're hearing coming from this pedal. let's start chipping away at how this thing works. So top left is where we set the main style of delay. So we can play with straight quarter or eighth notes. Or we can add in some sort of beat quantization with dotted eighths or triplets. And then there's that pattern setting where the repeats happen on the quarter notes and the dotted eighths, giving it that dual in-between feel. Moving right along, there's reverse. There's a ping pong setting, which bounces the sounds subtly between the left and the right channels. And because why the heck not, reverse ping pong. From there, our delay is controlled with your standard assortment of delay time, feedback, and delay mix knobs. And just FYI, the delay time can be entered with this knob or tapped in with this guy over here. This is also a reverb pedal, and there aren't a whole lot of options for changing that reverb sound, just reverb time and reverb mix. All right, this one's kind of interesting. Right over here, we've got a knob that lets us set whether we want delay into reverb, reverb into delay, or left reverb, right delay, or the other way around. And I guess that's for if you want to record the effects in parallel, record them both, and then mix them together in post or at the board or something. Not entirely sure. A big part of what makes this pedal different is this section right here. We're used to seeing delays that are tape style or analog style or whatever style. This is sort of a build your own flavor thing, starting with these high and low pass filters. So I'll start with the low pass filter and then hit the toggle button to start working with the high pass filter and listen for the changes as I play around with those values. word control there is saturation, and that's how overdriven we want the echoes to become. So starting with very little and ramping up to quite a lot. I'm a huge fan of modulation in delays and reverbs and in general, and this lets us dial in the amount of depth and speed we want, as well as whether we want that focused more on the delay or the reverb side. And here's another neat feature, the dynamic expression knob, this clear knob on here. When we're actively playing, it will push the echoes and the reverbs into the background. It ducks them by a measure of however high we set this knob. And I'm going to switch camera angles here so you can better see the intensity of the translucent knob reacting to my playing. You know, I like presets, and apparently so do the folks at Seymour Duncan, because we've got 32 banks with 4 presets in each one for a total of 128 presets. So suffice to say, you probably won't run out of presets on this pedal. You scroll through the banks just like this, and the presets just like this. And when you've come up with something that you want to save, you just hold down both buttons, select the target, hit both again, and then bam, they're saved. The MIDI capabilities of this pedal are thoroughly documented, and it looks like it would fit in right alongside a pedal switcher solution like a Boss MS3 or a Gig Rig. I'm not quite there yet, so I can't demo it, but I do like being able to catalog my settings between the banks. And when we're working within a bank, we can quickly switch between patches by just holding down this button, tapping to the patch we want, and then well, there we are. It goes right back to normal operating mode. Last stop on our tour of the pedal's controls is the trails button over here. Now, I always leave this on because I like my reverbs and delays to naturally trail off, but this serves a very important purpose. The way this pedal is set up, these knobs don't always reflect what their current values are. If I load a preset, it's going to load the settings and it's not going to move the knobs. And this tweak knob right here is doing duty for 6 different values. So if I get a preset that I really like, it can be hard to figure out exactly what went into creating it. Well, you hold down the trails button, move the appropriate knob around, and it will tell you what its current value is. That's pretty thoughtful. We can also plug into the pedal's USB port, launch the Seymour Duncan Librarian software, and back up and restore all the saved patches on this pedal with our PC. This pedal really speaks to me on a couple of levels. I really like, well, perhaps most importantly, I like the way it sounds, and I like the way it handles presets. I also really dig that pattern option, and I like the ability to dial in the filters, the saturation, and the modulation. Seymour Duncan actually has dedicated delay and reverb pedals, the Andromeda and the Silver Lake, which use this same layout. The Dark Sun is a signature pedal based on guitarist of Periphery Mark Holcomb's favorite sounds from those two pedals. Obviously, Mark is a very skilled progressive metal player, which is not what I played here at all. So even if you're not into prog metal, I want you to know that this is still a very capable pedal. Plus, I also just saw his signature PRS SE guitar, and yeah, that's giving me some feelings. The Dark Sun is just another piece of gear that I've been curious about for a while, and I figured you might be curious about it as well. That's how we roll here, though wait until you see what I've got right here. It's so cool, you just might want to go grab yourself an oversized flannel. Throw your theories out there in the comments about what this might be, and I'll catch you on the next one.